So many great horror movies, so little time. "2025 has been a stellar year for the horror movie genre, and there have been so many of them. No way you're going to be able to see all of them by the time Halloween gets here, so I compiled my list of 10 newly released movies that are still in theaters or newly released to streaming to help you get that spooky, eerie feeling that we all crave. Now, this list is a list of the 10 movies that I think fit the horror movie genre perfectly. There are so many really good movies that I left out because I consider them to be more mystery, suspense, thriller than just adrenaline pumping horror. If you think I missed out on a couple and you think there are a few that should have been on this list, do me a favor, drop me a comment below, shoot me a message over in Discord. Let me know while you're there. If you can give me a like, a share, and a subscribe, I would appreciate it greatly. And now, on to the list. Coming in at number 10, we have Traumatika, released September 12th of this last year. Premiered at Fright Fest August 24th of last year. Directed by Pierre Sigariz. I'm not even going to pretend to play with his name. He directed it. He co-wrote it with Maxime Rankin. If you're looking for strong storyline, strong plot, strong cinematography, great acting, you're not going to find it in this movie. The movie actually lost me about halfway through. I thought we were seeing the makings of a new slasher like Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger. Unfortunately, I was let down at this. The trailer was really better than the entire movie is. I know, if it's so bad, why is it on my list? Because it scratches the itch of the horror movie genre. In the very beginning, it had me gripped. It was full of jump scares. It was demonic possession was great. The makeup looked fantastic. The cinematography left a little bit to be desired, but the darkness and the gloominess really added to the storyline. Unfortunately, it fell off. Points of this movie, I felt like I was watching a therapy session and I was in the middle of somebody talking to his therapist, or I was watching the inner workings of a depraved mind, and hopefully he's going to leave it on the big screen and he gets all of that sickness and desire left out. But either which way, if you are looking for something that is going to give you chills, going to give you that uncomfortable feeling, going to give you a feeling of fright and fear and dread, that this movie is definitely for you.
Poverty is a threat to democracy.
Listen, I got a job. Easy B&E.
That's it?
That's it.
At number 9, we have No Tears in Hell. Released August 9th or August 12th of this last year. I can't remember. It is co-written and directed by Michael Casey, who previously worked on Hunter's Moon. It is loosely inspired by the real-life crimes of Russian serial killer Alexander Spezivstev. Sorry if I murdered that name. There's a little bit of a pun there. AKA the Siberian Ripper. Set in the icy, desolate backdrop of frozen Alaska, we follow Alex, played by Luke Baines, and his mother, played by Gwen Van Dam, as they make their secluded Alaskan home into a place of manipulation, cruelty, and cannibalistic horror that blend all together. This movie is not comfortable at all. It leans into the discomfort, and that discomfort stays with you long after the credits roll. The bad thing about this movie is sometimes it gets lost in its own darkness. There was an argument about the emotional nuances and the narrative being swallowed in so much darkness. It's very gritty. It's very violent. And even though it's a psychological horror, and I said this list was going to stay away from the psychological horror, mixing that it's based on real life crimes, things that were so grisly and violent in this movie, it just made for a good horror feel. Luke Baines did a fantastic job at this. You almost feel like he was the Russian serial killer. His mother, the codependency that they play off of each other as you see them delve into rot and moral decay. The Alaskan backdrop mixed with the degradation, the deprivation, the desolation, the starvation, the suffocation. And it's cold and it's empty and it feels like it's a character in its own. If you really want to have that spooky, eerie, scary Halloween feel, this is definitely a movie for you.
The devil has come to Pennsylvania.
Jack and Janet Smurl claimed that an evil
For number 8, we have The Conjuring Last Rites, the 4th and hopefully final installment to this series, released September 5th, 2025, and directed by Michael Chaves, with screenplay from Ian Goldberg and Richard Nang and David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick. That's a lot of names to have. It brings back Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson to reprise the role of the ghost-busting dynamic duo, those spooky, ooky paranormal investigators that won our hearts, Ed and Lorraine Warren. Now, this time, the Warrens are investigating a real-life, alleged haunting of the Smurl family in Pennsylvania in the 1980s, and conveniently, the Smurl family finds itself in possession of an ancient, evil, antique mirror that just so happens to relate directly to the very first case that the Warrens investigated. Now, in that case, the Warrens made grave mistakes, and they're hoping to fix those mistakes. Will they? I'm not going to tell you, but either which way, it brings in their daughter this time with her fiance, and there's a lot more emotion in this. The scenes are a little bit more intense because of that family dichotomy. It's their last ride, so they're trying to make a little bit more of an immense feeling. If you like haunted house movies and you like ghosts, especially on Halloween, this movie is for you. It's got hands where there shouldn't be hands, and figures and shadows lurking in the corner with some jump scares and some things that aren't really supposed to happen. And if you get that feeling of walking into a room, knowing you're alone, but feeling like you're not, you're going to love this movie. Unfortunately, saying that, I'm not a haunted house fan. Even though the Conjuring series was nicely done and the acting was great and the cinematography was great and the script was great and everything was great, it's overplayed. There's only so much you can do with haunted house jump scares. I'm really glad to see that this movie was made to bring a closure to it, but I'm even more glad to see that this movie was made so we can bring closure to it.
3 things go inside. Something you need, something you hate, something you love.
Dakota Fanning takes our number 7 spot with Paramount Plus's original Vicious, released October 10th, 2025, and directed by Brian Bertino. Dakota Fanning plays Polly, a woman in her mid-30s, down on her luck, not sure which decision to make next, living in a mundane life in her sister's rental home, which she couldn't possibly afford on her own, until one fateful night, a mysterious elderly woman knocks at her door with a wooden box, an hourglass, and an ultimatum. Either give the box what it desires, one thing Polly hates, one thing she needs, and one thing she loves, or die that night. There are so many twists and turns and so many jump scares, so much gore in this movie. It is a Halloween must to watch. And besides that, Dakota Fanning does an excellent job in this film. Not talking about the cinematography, not talking about an original storyline. For once, maybe not completely original, but it's an original concept. I enjoyed it a lot. But Dakota Fanning brings this home. She identifies with the character. She brings the character to life. You could feel her despair, her quiet hopelessness, being stuck in a rut, her general apathy for her entire life. You get the sense that she's living vicariously through her more successful sister. She's only doing what her mother wants her to do. She feels like she needs to live the way that others want her to live, and she needs to do what she considers normal. To me, the box was a metaphor for life and how it always asks of you, and it always asks of you, and you don't know why, but you keep giving and giving and giving so you can survive. When life puts you in a box, the only thing that you can do is not play the game, and Dakota Fanning made this real. If you want Halloween jump scares and you want to be afraid to answer your door the next time somebody knocks, give this movie a watch.
Dad! Dad! God damn it!
What was going on with Dad?
Reminiscent of a Temu Train to Busan, our number 6 spot goes to the Elixir. Released October 23rd, 2025 to Netflix, it takes place in a small Indonesian village and is based around a family-run herbal medicine factory. The patriarch of the group, on a quest to find a special cure to the pesky problem of aging, runs across an age-reversing elixir. Side effects may include zombies. What happens next is a joyride for zombie fans like myself. Now, the makeup in this is fantastic. The gore is excellent. They did a great job with the zombies. The cinematography was good. Acting left a little bit to be desired. If you're looking for a very, very deep plot and a wonderful all-around movie like 28 Days Later, you're not going to find it here. But if you're looking for a way to spend your Halloween night in the comfort of cold, dead hands, this movie is 100% for you.
Have you heard of the grabber? I killed him.
What happened in that basement really changed it.
Jumping all the way to the number 5 spot on our list is The Black Phone Part 2, or what I like to call A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 7, Freddy Got a Facelift. Released October 17th, 2025, and directed by Scott Derrickson, co-written by C. Robert Cargill. The story picks up with Finney Blake, now 17, and his sister Gwen, who is 15, trying to navigate the post-trauma life of what happened to them in the first movie. This time, Gwenny is the one that receives calls from the mysterious black phone, with 3 boys reaching beyond the grave and asking for their help from a frozen religious camp named Alpine Lake. Come to find out as the investigation folds, they are the original 3 victims of the grabber. Played by Ethan Hawke, he did a wonderful job. I really liked the cinematography. The acting was really good. I love the way that they made the grainy dream sequences. Unfortunately for me, it was a little bit too close to the original Nightmare on Elm Street. Even though the storylines were a little bit different, they hit too close to home. Even though the character was a little bit different, it hit too close to home. And where the original movie started as a psychological horror and then dove into a supernatural horror, this movie is full-on supernatural horror. Thankfully, we get an explanation as to why Finney and Gwen can get the calls from the black phone, but the way that the movie was dragged out, the way that the movie just had a very slow burn between the jump scares and the thrills and the chills, it left a lot to be desired. But if you like movies like this, if you love the jump scares, if you like the Freddy Krueger-esque characters, and you're tired of the original Nightmare on Elm Street, I definitely think this movie should be on your Halloween watch list.
Wait, you're supposed to keep it lit.
Why?
Ancient tradition?
During the spookiest time of the year, there are a few guidelines all ghosts and goblins should follow.
Popping into our number 4 spot is 2007's Trick or Treat, directed by Michael Dougherty. There's a re-release October 14th and 16th with an all-new 4K version to the big screen with extended scenes. It really did my heart good to see a whole new generation as being introduced to that lovable little demonic scamp Sam and all of the bloody shenanigans that he gets into on the Halloween night. If you guys haven't seen this movie, it needs to be a must watch for your Halloween viewing. If you love Gen X throwbacks and are a fan to horror comedies from the golden age, then number 3 is just for you. Try giving Clown in a Cornfield a watch this Halloween night. Released August 15th, 2025. It is directed by Eli Craig, co-written with Carter Blanchard, and based on a novel by Adam Cesar. In this film, we follow Quinn Maybrook, played by Katie Douglas. She did a great job as her and her father moved to the small, dilapidated, withering town of Kettle Springs, right smack dab in the middle of a flyover state. Her being from the East Coast, moving to a small town, she does not know what to do, but soon she makes friends and realizes that there is a strange rift between the old fogies of the town and the little whippersnappers. As tensions rise, Friendo the Clown is introduced, and he brings justice, vengeance, and a swift scythe to any little tiny meddling kid that will not follow the rules. I really liked this movie. It was fantastic. I can't believe it was a Shudder original. I had a lot of fun with this movie. It reminded me so much of my childhood years, having 80s and 90s horrors and horror comedies. It hit spot on. The blood was there. The humor was there. The jump scares were there. I really don't see a whole lot wrong with this movie. The scripting was really fun. The jokes hit. The difference between the older generation and the younger generation, how the older people think that it's all this generation's fault and they can't figure anything out and they're a waste and they're ruining the world. I can relate with that. How the younger generation looks at the older generation as dinosaurs and they need to move out of the way because times they are a-changing. I can't really relate with that, but I have kids, so I know what they're talking about. Some of the funny parts were how the younger generation just could not work the technology of the older generation to their downfall, and I love this movie. Give it a watch.
Wow. Make sure it's okay.
Coming in at number 2, we have another horror comedy / survival terror with Coyotes. Released October 3rd, 2025. Directed by Colin Minahan and written by Tad Daggerhart, which is an awesome name, and Nick Simon. We follow a small family that live in the Hollywood Hills, played by real-life couple Justin Long and Kate Bosworth, as their comfortable life is upended by a raging wildfire nearby, and simultaneously a savage pack of coyotes is at their door trying to make a midnight snack of our family. As roads are collapsing, power is out, and nature spirals out of control, their once safe home and shelter is no longer a shelter, but a battleground. As one trailer puts it, they want your food, they want your shelter, they want your water, they want your sanity. Will our family be able to make it to safety, or are they going to be puppy chow? I'm not going to tell you. You're just going to have to watch the movie. But you're not going to regret watching this movie. This horror comedy is all about comedy, and it's all about horror. The blood is there. The attacks are there. The scenes are there. When somebody gets bit, they get bit. It's over the top, and they know it's over the top. The CGI is too much a whole lot of times, but they play with it. The humor is spot on. The characters are very relatable, and they have energy and charisma with each other. As you see the ineptitude of the Hollywood folks and their inability to do anything and the working class looking at them and simply saying, Hollywood, you can relate, and it makes you laugh. Justin Long on top of his game. The entire cast is fantastic, but I'm a Justin Long fan. The last thing I saw him star in was Tusk, and I was very disappointed, but this movie redeemed him. His humor was 100% spot on, and it's back, and I'm hoping he's in more. But if you're a fan of horror comedy, this should definitely be on your Halloween watch list.
Come on, Sheriff. We all want to hear about who killed that young couple.
Why are you doing this to us?
And our number one spot of the 10 must-see new releases for this Halloween season is The Strangers Chapter 2, released September 26, 2025, directed by Rennie Harlan and written by Alan R. Cohen and Alan Frieden. This movie picks up where Chapter 1 left off. We see our little heroine, Maya, played by Madeline Pesh, as she narrowly escaped the brutal attack of the home intrusion. But the intruders are not done, and they're not happy. They follow her to the hospital, and hunting commences. I've got to tell you, this movie is not a slow burn at all. There's a reason why I picked this for number one. The only thing that I have against this movie that I am not fond of is there's a CGI scene in there that looked way too fake, way too big. The person wouldn't have survived. It was not realistic at all, and it was just off in this movie when the rest were practical effects. But the horror, the terror, the screams, the running, the demented game of cat and mouse that these three strangers play start at the very beginning. It's a heart-pounding movie. It's filled with blood. It's filled with twists and turns. It's filled with anticipation, and the body count is much higher. If you're going to go to the theaters this Halloween night, I suggest The Strangers Chapter 2 is the movie that you pick above all else. I really can't wait until Chapter 3 comes out because we get a little bit of a backstory in this movie, kind of why they do the things they do without really explaining why they do the things that they do. And it looks like Chapter 3 is going to be as good, if not better, than Chapter 2 was. And Chapter 2 blew Chapter 1 out of the water. Definitely go and see this. And that is my list of the 10 most watched, newly released horror movies for Halloween. That's a really long title. I definitely have to work on that. But guys, I enjoyed making this video. It was a lot more difficult than what I thought it was going to be. There's so many good movies, especially horror movies in 2025. I had to narrow it down to the ones released just in the last couple of months. If I would have gone back further, I would have added 28 years later. I had already done a review for Weapons and didn't want to double dip. If you want to see my review, it's in a couple of videos back. But there's no way I could have done only a top 10 this year. Do me a favor. If I missed a movie, I may not have seen it. I might not be aware. Leave me the name of the movie down in the comments section so I can see it because I'm a big movie fan. If you think there is a couple of movies that had no business being on this list and should be nowhere near it, drop me a comment as well. I love to hear it because I read all of them and your opinion matters to me. If you have an idea for a list like this, you'd like to see me do one, or if you have a movie that you would like to see me review, you can leave it in the comments along with a like, a share, and a subscribe because it helps the channel out immensely. Or you can go over to my Discord, drop me a little message. I will read it and I will put your suggestion in the queue for you. And until next time, I hope you have a great day.